everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Let's Talk Business. We are so excited today for this episode because we're going to be focusing on another wonderful resource that's in the community for entrepreneurs and business owners. For those that are in the small sector, of course, a good resource that you can utilize in the community when you want to hold events and things of that sort, but also give back to the community. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about our main public library that's downtown South Bend. And today that's going to talk to us a little bit about the services that they provide and some of her experience in the world of business that she has herself. We have with us today Ms. Onjanette Dancler. How you doing, Onjanette?
How are you? I'm doing great. Feeling great.
It's good to see you. You look nice. You're looking good.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. So, question for you. Now, are you from South Bend? And if so, what was that like for you growing up here?
So, I am not from South Bend. I'm originally I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Raised in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, small town, smaller than South Bend, smaller than Elkhart. I went to school at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Has nothing to do with IU. There is a city called Indiana in Pennsylvania. Went there for 4 years, have a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting that I got from there. Moved to Baltimore where I had some friends. Met my husband, and he's actually from Elkhart. And moved out here to Elkhart, lived there for about 3 years, worked in Elkhart, and then we built a house in South Bend. And so I've been in South Bend for over 24 years and have moved into the community. My children graduated from Adams and Riley, and so we've been in South Bend for a long time.
All right. So you migrated into this area and became part of the community and have been thriving ever since then. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and giving us a little bit about your background and that connection. And it's good to hear that, you know, you have a husband from Elkhart, so that's the connect right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So let's talk about, you mentioned you went to college, you got your bachelor's degree, you mentioned accounting.
Correct.
So how did you end up in the actual field you're in now? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I really actually decided to become an accountant in the 10th grade. My family knew that I always loved numbers. I had a little bank book with my brother and make sure you take my pennies. I knew exactly where my pennies were. But I knew in the 10th grade I took an accounting class and I really fell in love with accounting. And so I did that during high school and went into the accounting program at IUP. And then all of my jobs have always been in the accounting or financial realm. I was an assistant controller. I was a royalty accountant when I came here. I worked for a toy company. I worked for Crow. And I actually have a knack for technology also, so I tied that in. I worked with the tax group and managed their technology, and then moved into some other tax realms. Tax is where I kind of fell into. Wasn't necessarily my love and my passion, but eventually an opportunity fell open at the St. Joe County Public Library. Applied. Wasn't sure that that's where I wanted to work, but question number 2 at the interview, I said this is where I needed to be. And part of that is because I do a lot in the community. And I've always said that if I could just do the things and give back and work for someone that does for the community and get paid for it, that's what I would love to do. And really, St. Joe County Public Library is exactly what I wanted to do. And I have been able to, over the past 3 years, to really give back to the community in different ways and partner with them and do my job and be able to do greater things in the South Bend community.
Okay, and thank you for your service. You are truly an asset, no doubt, to them as well as to the community by the things you do. So you're back office a lot of times with those financials for the library. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So as the chief financial officer, I am all things money, and so I manage the budget, manage the payables, the receivables. And I have a voice at the table with the rest of the chiefs and the executive director to be able to make those decisions on other things even broader than just the financials, being able to look into the communities where we are, where we have branches and what we do in those, and kind of put my my knowledge of not necessarily being from here and also where I live and what I do, and being able to tell them, you know, my perspective on those things.
Okay, which is no doubt very much valuable and a contribution to their progress of reaching their goals and their missions, no doubt. So what I wanted to ask you about is something I noticed, they went through this transformation at the library. They did this construction work. It looks beautiful in there. I know it's been some time since, but what was the purpose of that? And also, how does that reach out to the community, including our entrepreneurs and business owners out here? What do they got going on there?
Right. So I started going to the library in St. Joe County well before the construction. So I definitely remember, because I've only been at the library in my role for 3 years. But yes, it did make a huge transformation, and coming on board, learning why they did that. It's because the library is a third place. We don't want you to just think of it as the place to pick up a book. It is the place to get computer help. It is the place to go and see the research librarian and help you with business plans and LinkedIn and Ancestry and all of those things that you can get for free, well, because you're paying property taxes to access those. And then we also have meeting space. It has been it's very difficult, especially for not-for-profits, small businesses, to then find a office or somewhere to meet or to bring a client, and you're just starting off. Where do you go? How do you have the money to pay for those things? Or not-for-profits, how do you rent a room? Well, the rooms for not-for-profits are for free in general, and so being able to have a space to do those things, to make copies, $5 free for a day to make copies and things like that, even to come and use the Adobe suite or create flyers or print flyers. A lot of people don't know we have that. And so just being able to be an additional resource to the community. The library is not just books. It really is, and it's not just digital books. It has a plethora of things that people can use, and your property tax dollars are paying for that, so why not use it?
Yeah, thank you for breaking that down. And I think most people don't think about that. Like earlier I asked you the question, where does the library fit in to the world of business when it comes to nonprofit or for profit? And you told me it's part of government. So explain just a little bit about that relationship.
Yeah, so we are actually a governmental unit. And so we are, we're not really a direct part of the county taxes, the county system, but we are funded majority by property taxes. And so we have board members that come from 3 units, which the school board, the county council, and the county commission, and they are appointed to our board. We have a budget that goes through the state board of accounts, that is approved by the state board of accounts, by our board, and sent to the state board of accounts. And so that's where our dollars come from. So we are technically a governmental unit, but we manage, we get audited, we have to do, we have to get our payments approved, we have to do change requests. All of that goes to our board, and then we function as a business.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you do, because recently, I know it's been some time, not a lot, but we had Ideal Week. And Ideal Week was so involved with our public library downtown.
It was.
How in the world did that come about?
So my understanding is the Idea Week committee came to us and said, hey, we need some rooms, and then we basically look at the event schedule, and if we need them, we will schedule out the rooms, and that's how Idea Week happens. And so that's anyone that wants to come and use the room. They can look at the schedule. You don't have to have a library card to book a room. If you are for profit, yes, there's a different pricing scale.
Right.
But if it's a not-for-profit, you can look at that scale, and most rooms are free except for the ballroom and the auditorium. But in general, you can just come in and use that room as you need to.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. What a resource to small business owners, no doubt. And now the fact you just mentioned, you don't even have to use your library card to reserve the room.
Right.
I mean, because I remember you used to have to put in your little card number just to get, so they changed that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We look at the population and what's going on and what makes it easier for our patrons to come and utilize the resource that we have here. And so, and even our branches, they have meeting spaces. A lot of people don't realize that they have their own meeting spaces. Some are larger and smaller, and we're expanding some of our branches because we understand that other pieces of the community need what we have downtown. And to be honest, downtown is getting full. There are times that we are unable because there are library events that take up the whole branch.
Gotcha.
So Idea Week, that was the whole entire CLC, our Community Learning Center. And so we need some rooms across the city that are a tad bit bigger for those people that may have bigger events that want to still use a space, but our downtown is actually full.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I thank you as well as the board members and all the decisions they had to make for that to be a great resource for the community, but it's a great resource also for our up-and-coming entrepreneurs and business owners that are on, like we mentioned, a smaller scale. If you're for nonprofit, it's free, and for profit, you got a little small payment you got to make, but it's still available versus not having the availability.
Yes.
So that's good. That's good. So you say you've been there for about 3 years, right? Okay, and that's a career choice, right?
Absolutely.
Where does that fall in exactly? Because where does it fall in for you exactly with your career choice?
So for me, like I said, I am an accountant. That's what I do. I mean, for anyone in the accounting industry, being either, depending on if you're in public accounting or in private accounting, becoming the CFO is kind of the pinnacle of your career. You've gotten to the top, right? If you're in private accounting, you may be the partner of a firm, from a CPA firm. But being the CFO is really I've done all the steps, and I'm at the top of the at the top of the chain. Gotcha. And it's one of the things that I really love about this role is that I'm a big Hamilton fan, so I really love the song when he says to be in the room where it happens, right? I am in the room where it happens. So I'm the first African-American female, first African-American period that has been at the executive level of the St. Joseph County Public Library System. And so I have that voice sitting in that room that they can ask me, what does our population want to think about? And so that is a great place to be, not just as an accountant, but just as an individual to be at the top of your career and at the top of a company.
Nice, C-level indeed. All right, well, so thank you for sharing these details about us on that level, as well as talking about these resources. Hopefully they'll take full advantage of that, knowing that it's free majority of the time and it's a great space. When it comes to now transitioning to your other involvements in the community, let's talk a little bit about that. Now, you're also a part of a nonprofit organization. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I am, at this time, I am the president of the Iota Xi Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We also have a 501c3, which is called Royal Sigma Service. And so what we do is we are part of what's called the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine is 9 of the largest sororities and fraternities that were historically black. And so that does not mean we have all black members. We have members from all races, but we were historically black. And the reason we are historically black is because at the time, most of us were founded in from 1906 to 1922. Our youngest is from in 1963, but most of us were founded in that very early 1900s. And we weren't allowed to be in other fraternal or sorority organizations, so we created our own. And so my particular organization was founded November 12th, 1922. We have a special distinction. We were founded at a predominantly white institution. Many of the others were actually founded at Howard. So they had a different path. They were around their own people, right? So we were at a university where there probably were only like 10 of us. So trying 7 educators, 7 women educators deciding to create an organization really literally down the street from the KKK. The house is still there. The Grand Dragon of the KKK lived literally 2 houses from their campus, and they had to walk there every day. One of our founders is actually was from South Bend, Hattie Mae Annette Doolin Redford. She graduated from Central High School, and so I'm a member of that organization. The schools that I went to were all predominantly white. That's kind of where I went, and just to be able to be in an organization that had to strive and to push forward in that environment just really pushed me to become a member.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that history. That was a lot that I didn't think about. You know, how far back that type of organization goes. So you mentioned 501c3, right? So there's standards they have to meet, you know, to continue to keep that 501c3 status, nonprofit. So you all do fundraising events and
we do.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the reason we started the 501c3 is because as a membership organization, it can be sometimes a little harder to fulfill our essential programs. We have 5 essential programs. And to get those bigger dollars to really fund those programs, we decided to create the 501c3. And what the 501c3 does is it allows us to then get larger sponsorships, larger dollars toward, we have a scholarship. We have 5 programs, like I said. We have Operation Big Book Bag, Project Reassurance, Swim 1922 that we just finished a few weeks ago, Women's Wellness. And so we do those programs throughout the year, and we use that 501c3 to create those dollars so we can have those larger programs.
Okay, so y'all got some money moving around there, huh? So now let's this is business, so let's talk about it, because that's money coming and going. Can you explain to the audience, because I know you mentioned it has these status it has to keep. That means it has to meet certain regulations. When it comes to the money aspect of it, you got to have a bank account, obviously.
Absolutely.
And let's see, do you all have a designated space in our community for this sorority?
So the way that we operate is we use the library for our meeting space. We don't have a building, but a lot of times we do partner with some amazing organizations and amazing places that allow us to use their space. We use Charles Black a lot. We have used, we just did our Swim 1922 program. It was going to be at Riley. They had some other things going on, and so we ended up at Washington, but we use obviously that South Bend Community School Corporation, so we have been able to partner with them. And so we use entities around the city that we can, that are friendly to us, that really see what our mission is, and we use those spaces to do our programs. We are actually using the library to do a hygiene kit program for our youth that we started, that Sigma Gamma Rho started, that the Library Foundation, which I also manage. So I manage the Library Foundation's money there, and then we have a development director, and they were able to get a grant for the Library Foundation, but we as a community service, between us and Zeta Phi Beta, we actually are packing all of their hygiene kits for them, so we don't have to use staff time to pack those items.
Okay. So there's a lot of collaboration.
A lot of collaboration.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful with these businesses and these other organizations. So let me ask you, as the president, and congratulations, because I know you just took on that role recently, right?
This is my 3rd time being the president.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was the president, moved out of that for 2 years for a rest. I was the president for 4 years and then took a 4-year rest, and then I'm doing it for 2 more years.
Got you. So let me ask you this question then, since you've done it a couple of times, several times actually. What is some of the challenges that as a nonprofit that you have faced and had to overcome?
I think that one of the challenges is getting people to remove the stigma of, oh, that's a sorority. First of all, you still in a sorority? And it's like, okay, yes. I mean, I've been out of school for a long time, and I actually became a sorority member as an adult. The Divine 9 organizations are completely different than other sorority and fraternity organizations. We do this for life. We don't just do this to do this in college, and then once we're in college, it's like, oh yeah, I was in a sorority. We are expected to be a sorority member for life. And so, and to build up our community and continue to build up our community for as long as we possibly can. So I think some of the struggle is to get other entities and other organizations to really understand that this isn't just a sorority. Like, we literally are boots on the ground trying to change the cities that we live in. And I think that can be somewhat of a challenge to figure out how to, number one, even sometimes get past our Black community and move out and figure out how to get those in other communities to understand what we do and what our impact can be if you partner with us. So I think that's one of those struggles.
Okay, okay, thank you for sharing that. And you know, I gotta admit, I think you're right, absolutely right about that. Because let me ask you this, why would a person want to join a sorority or a fraternity if it's no longer college related? What would make a person who's graduated or later in life decide, I'm going to join a fraternity or sorority? What would do that?
So I definitely can say for me. So I went to a college that had all of the Divine Nine organizations. At the time, it was the Elite Eight. And so not doing it in college, I mean, I really came out like I knew I wanted to join one at the time. Life circumstances, I did not. When I got older, as coming to this community, right? So I came to a community where I didn't really know people. I had kids right away, and I just started to kind of get out into the community and doing some things. And I met a Sigma Gamma Rho, and I was like, okay, I really like what she's doing. They doing some stuff in the community. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, that's the type of person I am. I like to do that work, and how can I do this work with people? And I'm like, they're doing great things, and you start doing your research, and they're doing things on a national level, they're doing things on a state level, and how can you be a part of that? And that's really what, as an adult, doing those things and knowing that, and as an adult, you have a little bit more money, you got a little bit more time, and then you can really infuse that into these organizations to make your community where you've chosen to live even better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a different thought process, because I really wanted to know the answer to that, because I've had people ask me that question, or I've heard people talk about that. Not necessarily ask me directly, but I've heard questions about that. So thank you for giving some clarity to it. It's again, sounds very much service based, and what you can give back to your community. And obviously, this was one of the organizations you saw, not just talking about it, but being about it. And you said, I want to be a part of that.
And that's exactly it. It's not just talking about it, it's about being about it. When you're in college and you see it, my daughter is a member of the organization. She just became a member. But it's about the work. And I definitely would instill, even if you have an undergrad or you're older and you're thinking about what's the work they're doing. The fun stuff, oh yeah, there's fun stuff, but you can't do the fun stuff every day. What can you do? What are you doing to change the organization? What are you doing to change the city that you're in? And to do it as a collective, I think that is extremely important, whether it's someone that's doing this at 18, 19, 20, or someone that might be doing it at 40 or 50, because you can join these organizations at that age and make a great impact.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's talk about some more of the business aspect of that. When you're doing these collaborations and these deals, and there's fundraising and money that's involved, are there contracts that you all have to sign and deal with? So what does that look like, and who's the person doing those contracts? So you don't have to say their name, but is it a committee, crew? How does that work?
So depending on the event, most of our events, when we have events, whether it's a fundraising event or whether it is a community service event, we have chairs. There's a chair, and they have a committee. They can make their decisions on the committee. But as a president, everything rolls to the president, right? So when we're signing a contract, when we are doing those things, the president's signature is on everything. But we do have officers at every level. So we have a president, we have a treasurer, we have a financial secretary, we have checks and balances and those types of things. And so those chairs, although the treasurer may not be on the committee, at the end of the day, the financial secretary and the treasurer, they take the money, make sure we got the money tied to where it's supposed to be. You've given me your invoices, you've given me your receipts, and we make sure that those things happen. It's not any different than me at work. And a lot of times, I don't like being the treasurer of I have been the treasurer of Sigma Gamma Rho, but I don't like to do that. But I always will tell them, I will be the financial consultant and help you get your arms around the big chunk so that we're doing it correctly. And so, but we have an amazing treasurer and financial secretary, and they work with the money, and they have allowed me to help them as much as they possibly can.
Good stuff, good stuff. You're the one with the experience, so they come to the experience. All right, good stuff. I'm glad that you've shared and broken down a lot of these details for us when it comes to our community. when it comes to the library, as well as this nonprofit organizational efforts in the community and what they're doing as well, and how it operates. Because again, it's an ongoing. It is a business.
Yep, it is.
There's checks and balances, and then you trying to stay tax exempt. So you know, so it's good stuff. Well, I want to tell you, thank you for definitely sharing this with us, and I want you to look in that camera, and I want you to tell them how they can get in contact with you in connection with your nonprofit, if that's what you want to talk about. And as far as the library, it's simple, right? Tell them a little something.
So, yeah, so you can find us on Facebook. We are at Iota Xi Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We also have a website, and we also have some auxiliary groups that are, we have a group for our 12 to 18-year-olds called our Rower Club. And we also have a Rosebud Club. Those are our 8 to 11-year-olds. And we also have an organization called our Philos. And that organization is for any women that have a high school diploma or a GED and do not have a 4-year degree. They work hard for us. And all of those you can see, it'll be under IXS or Iota Xi Sigma, Rower, Philo, Rosebud. And we can be found on Facebook.
All right, good stuff. Well, hey, this has been a journey, and I'm so privileged to have you with us today. And I look forward to us doing some more business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to talk.
We got another event coming up. We're working on the plan, and we will definitely have you involved.
All right, that's what I want to hear.
Absolutely.
All right. So for you all, we want to thank you all for joining us. We hope this was motivational, again, for you as you continue your journey, whether it's for-profit, non-profit. You learned a lot about the resources that's in the community for you that won't make you have to choose between a meal and paying bills, but you can go here and utilize this resource on your endeavor. So we appreciate all you do, and may you continue to have the mindset of a boss. Y'all take care and have a good one.